Cold coffee, the hum of 6 floors of concrete above me, the sound of absolutely nothing. That was my life from 11 at night to 7 in the morning. My name's Walt, 61. Drove a city bus for 33 years. Then my knees quit and Helen, my wife, went into memory care, Alzheimer's. The house got so quiet after that I could hear the clock from every room. Couldn't take it. Found a posting for overnight security at the parking garage under the old Bricker Federal Building, downtown Columbus, built in '69. The building upstairs got vacated 2 years ago, asbestos or something. But the garage stayed open for a few tenants in the office tower next door. Most nights, maybe 4 or 5 cars across all 6 levels. The rest was concrete and fluorescent light and me. My booth sat at the entrance of B1. Glass box, a desk, 6 monitors, a space heater that smelled like burning dust. I kept an AM radio in there, but underground you get nothing, just static. I left it on anyway. The static was company. Every hour I'd walk the whole thing, top to bottom, B1 to B6, check the stairwell doors, fire extinguishers, exit signs, log it all in a spiral notebook, old bus driver habit. You always write down where you've been. B1 through B5 were fine, nothing special. B6 was different, deepest level, the oldest. Half the fluorescents were dead, and the ones still working had that slow, sick flicker that makes your eyes ache. The concrete down there sweated, little beads of moisture on the walls and support columns, like the building was nervous. And there was a smell, not mildew, more like old pennies and wet stone. I got bored. That's what this job does to you. So I started counting parking spaces. Each level has numbers stenciled on the wall, lines painted on the floor. I checked them against the building diagram in the stairwell. B6 was supposed to have 47. I counted 48. Counted again. 48, walked the whole level, touching each number. 46, 48. One extra space in the far corner, right against the foundation wall. Number 48 stenciled in white, same faded paint as everything else. I checked the diagram, stopped at 47. According to the plans, that corner was solid wall. Didn't think much of it. Diagrams get outdated. Maybe they added a space in the 80s and nobody updated the paperwork. Happens all the time. I wrote it in my notebook. B6, 48 spaces, diagram says 47. Circled it, moved on. That was a Tuesday. Thursday night, 1 a.m. round. Got down to B6. Same dead lights, same sweating walls, same penny smell. Walked the perimeter, and when I got to the far corner, there was a car in space 48, dark blue sedan. A Chevy, maybe. Couldn't tell the year in that light. Just sitting there, backed into the corner, facing out. I stopped. Checked my notebook. I'd done the 11 p.m. walkthrough 2 hours ago. No car. I'd written it down. B6 clear. No car had come through the gate. I was in the booth the whole time. Would have heard the arm go up. That thing sounds like a broomstick snapping. Gate log showed no entry after 10:47 p.m. But there it was. A car in a space that shouldn't exist at 1 in the morning, 6 floors underground. I stood there looking at it for a while. Engine off, no lights, no movement. I wrote it down. 1:07 a.m. Blue sedan, space 48. No gate record. Then I went back upstairs and poured another cup of cold coffee. Next morning, before clocking out, I went back down. Wanted another look in decent light. Well, whatever passes for decent on B6. The sedan was gone. No gate record of it leaving. I scrolled through the log twice. Nothing after 10:47 p.m. in. Nothing out until Terry's day shift started at 7. But the space was empty. Just the painted lines and the number 48 on the wall. I told Terry about it. He shrugged, said B6 gave him a weird feeling too, but he never went down there if he didn't have to. Then he said something that stuck with me. He said the guy before me, Phil, used to complain about the count being wrong. Said Phil would come upstairs talking about spaces that didn't add up. Terry didn't know the details. Phil quit 3 months back. Didn't give a reason. Just stopped showing up. I let it go. Told myself I'd stop counting. I didn't stop counting. Over the next week, I checked the 48th space every round. Some nights it was empty. Some nights there was a car. Different car each time. A silver pickup, a black SUV, a little red hatchback. Always in the corner. Always backed in, facing out. Never a gate record. The cars were always gone by morning. I started writing down the plates, kept a separate list in the back of my notebook. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I just needed to write something down. That's what you do when things don't make sense. You write them down and hope the pattern shows itself. I know how this sounds. 61-year-old guy who can't sleep, working alone underground, getting spooked by parked cars. I thought about that a lot. Thought maybe I was just tired. Maybe the light down there was playing tricks. Maybe I was miscounting. So I did something stupid. I drove my truck down to B6. My old F-150, rust on the wheel wells, 200,000 miles of Columbus winters. I backed it into Space 48, cut the engine, and walked away. Figured if the space was just a space, nothing would happen. Before I left the truck, I checked the odometer. Force of habit from the bus. You always log your mileage. 187,342. Wrote it down. Did my rounds all night. Normal. Nothing. The radio hissed. The coffee got cold. I refilled it from the thermos and it was already cold in there too. At 5 in the morning, I went back down. The truck was where I left it. Same spot, same angle, hadn't moved. The odometer read 187,891. 549 miles. That truck didn't move. I was in the booth the whole time. 6 floors up. The gate never opened. I sat in the driver's seat for a long time, hands on the wheel, trying to make the numbers make sense. They didn't. Then I remembered the dash cam. Cheap little thing I'd stuck to the windshield years ago. Always running when the ignition was off. Motion activated, but it also recorded on a loop. I pulled the SD card and took it up to the booth. Plugged it into my laptop. 6 hours of footage. The first 4 hours were nothing. Concrete wall. The dim yellow light of B6. Silence. Just the timestamp crawling forward in the corner of the screen. Then at 3:12 a.m., the image changed. The camera was recording a road. A 2-lane highway, middle of the night. Rain coming down hard. Headlights cutting through fog, trees on both sides. Pines, tall ones. The kind you see in southern Ohio or maybe West Virginia. The truck was moving. I could hear the engine, the wipers, the tires hissing on wet asphalt. For 2 hours, the dash cam recorded my truck driving through the rain on a road I've never seen. Steady speed, no stops, no turns, just forward into the dark. At 5:01 a.m., the footage cut back to the concrete wall, B6, like nothing happened. I sat there staring at the screen. Replayed it, same thing. Then I paused it, right at the 4-hour mark when the truck was on that road. The rearview mirror was visible in the top of the frame. I zoomed in. Someone was sitting in the driver's seat. The image was grainy, blurred by the rain on the windshield and the low light. But the shape was clear. A person, hands on the wheel. And they were wearing something dark, something heavy. They were wearing my jacket, the one I keep on the hook behind the booth door. The one I was wearing right now. I looked down at my jacket, looked back at the screen. Same jacket, same shoulders, same shape. I closed the laptop. I didn't watch it again. I didn't sleep the next day. Couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that road, the rain, the shape wearing my jacket. So I went to the county records office, asked for the original 1967 blueprints of the Bricker Federal Building garage. The clerk found them. I spread the plans on the reading table, counted every space on B6, running my finger along the lines. 45, 46, 47. That was it. The far corner showed nothing. Just foundation wall. Solid poured concrete. 18 inches thick. According to the people who built this place, that space doesn't exist. Never did. That night I went back to work, did my 11 p.m. round, took the stairs down level by level, got to B6, stood at the entrance and looked across the floor. Counted. 48. The space was there, same as always. Painted lines on the floor, clean and straight. The number 48 on the wall in that same faded stencil. The paint wasn't new. It wasn't touched up. It looked exactly as old as the numbers next to it. 46, 47. Like it had been there since the day the building opened. But the blueprint said it wasn't. There was a car in the space. White Honda Civic. Recent model, clean, nothing remarkable. I walked over and wrote down the plate number in my notebook. I'm not law enforcement, can't run plates. But I have a phone and I know how to use a search engine. Took me about 20 minutes back in the booth. The plate came back to a missing person report. Filed August 2019. A woman named Diane Kendrick, 34 years old, last seen leaving her apartment in the Short North District, driving a white Honda Civic. She never arrived at work that morning. The car was never found. She was never found. I sat in the booth for a long time after that. I thought about the other cars, the blue sedan, the silver pickup, the red hatchback. How many of those plates would come back to people who vanished? How many drove down here and never came back up? I didn't look them up, wasn't ready, but I went back down. 3 in the morning, needed to see the Civic one more time. Some part of me thought maybe it would be gone. It wasn't gone. The Civic sat in space 48, engine cold, doors locked. I stood about 10 feet away and just looked at it. Everything was still. The fluorescent above the space was one of the dead ones, so the only light came from the tube 2 spaces over, a weak, yellow flicker that made the white paint look gray. Then I noticed the windows, condensation, on the inside of every window, the windshield, the sides, the rear, fog on the glass, the slow kind, not like when you get in a cold car and breathe hard. This was steady, building up, fading, building up again, like breathing, like something inside that car was breathing. I put my flashlight to the driver's side window, cupped my hand around it to block the glare. Front seat, empty. Passenger seat, empty. I moved to the back, pressed the light against the rear window. Back seat, empty. But the condensation kept forming. Right there on the inside of the glass, inches from my face. A slow pulse. In, out. I stepped back. My hands were shaking. I went back upstairs, sat in the booth until 7, didn't do another round. I didn't quit. Went back the next night, and the next. Still count 48 spaces. Still see cars in that corner, different makes, different plates. I don't park my truck down there anymore. I don't check the cars. I just log them. Plate numbers, colors, dates. Keep the list in my glove compartment, not the official logbook. Nobody reads it. Some nights, sitting in the booth with the static and the cold coffee, I think about Helen, sitting in her room at Maple Ridge, forgetting our house, forgetting my name, forgetting 38 years of everything we built together. And I think, maybe forgetting is a kind of mercy. Maybe that's what it looks like when your mind decides you've carried enough. Because I can't forget. I can't forget the road on that dash cam that my truck drove without me. I can't forget the shape in the driver's seat wearing my jacket. And I can't forget the sound, no, not sound, the rhythm of breathing inside an empty locked car, 6 floors under the ground. And I can't stop counting to 4.